So have you thought about what a new education system would look like?
My approach has always been going directly to the student, whoever the student of life happens to be. Now, I know in terms of curriculum what I would change, just because I wouldn't focus so much on, on dates. I think it's good to be well read, because I think that perspective is really important. But I would focus more on functional, usable tools and that would help people excel in today's day and age. The ability to create, to be able to think differently, leadership skills, the ability to work and manage teams, collaboration tools. I think all those would be very important. Any of the learning methodologies that we publish on how to focus and how to concentrate. The reason I focus on memory a lot, even though there's a lot of information online, because people are like, oh, why do I need to memorize all this stuff if it's available online? And that's a valid point. There's two reasons I would say. Number one, I feel like because people aren't memorizing things, they're losing their ability to remember things because they're outsourcing their brains to their smart devices, right? Everything is kept here, so they don't have to be able to keep it here. And the challenge is I believe that the mind is more like a muscle as opposed to a supercomputer that's use it or lose it, grows stronger with use. But a lot of people aren't using it as much as they used to. And so, because think about it, before technology, how would you have to remember personal history and all your lessons? You would pass it around, share it over with stories like this. And that's why I love this kind of context. There'd be a fire here and we'd be sharing this and it'd be part of who we are. And I feel people are losing that ability. So I think storytelling is so important to be able to teach, right? Interpersonal skills, right? We know that IQ is it's erroneous, right? This idea where you have a number and it's yours for the rest of your life and it's fixed and it can't move and it accurately describes your value in society. I think that's flawed. I think that we have multiple intelligences. So generally in the United States, we reinforce two kinds of intelligence. It's verbal, linguistic, and mathematical. Growing up, that was the SATs. It was verbal and math, right? And if you're not good at either one of them, it's that determines whether or not you go to a school and everything else like that. But what about interpersonal skills? That's got to be at least as important to be able your ability to connect with individuals, which you have in spades. What about besides interpersonal skills? What about intrapersonal skill, just self-awareness? Because as Gary Vee talks about, I think self-awareness is a superpower. Awareness of yourself, your own condition and what motivates you, what drives you, your own beliefs, identity, your values.
Do you think that can be cultivated?
So I do believe in a combination of nature and nurture. I do believe people are born with a certain level of talent, but as it's cliche, but it's also true that hard work will be talent if talent doesn't work hard, right? So I do believe you could refine and train this. I think when it comes to children, it's harder to model and manage behaviors, getting them to do something or stop doing something. But I think what we could do, because of children growing up, they're incredibly they have their mirror neurons and they learn through imitation and such. I feel like that it's what's easier with modeling or being a good role model for kids, and this goes for coaching or any kind of relationship with a human being, is really to be an example and really instead of trying to manage certain micro behaviors the thousands and hundreds and thousands of different behaviors that your team has or your children have. I would say that it's be better to really focus on communicating the values